Faith and business.
All right, hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Faith and Business. It's been a little bit since I've actually recorded a video. And truthfully, I feel like sometimes I go through these waves where I'm all in on, social media and putting word out there and feeling the call to, from God to share his word and to share, the fire inside of my heart I feel for him and his word and the things that I learn and this wisdom and stuff like that, and just to share things with each other, because we're going through this life together. Other times I get in these modes where I feel like I'm just in learning phases. I'm learning a whole lot. I'm going through challenges myself, and sometimes it's hard for me to put things out in words because I feel, sometimes a sense of shame for the things I go through, or a sense of shame for my challenges or the way that I respond to certain challenges, because I'm not perfect, right? I might be here, with a heart set on fire for Christ, and I might be here, all in with God, but I struggle with it sometimes. And kind of knowing my place in this world and my place in my relationship with God and all of that. So nonetheless, I am here today, and there has been a chapter, or at least a passage here that I've been focusing on so much lately. I've been focusing on this one so much, and I've been continuously coming back to this one and seeing YouTube videos about it. And just as a disclaimer, I might repeat a couple things I heard in those videos just because I really feel connected to what it is they had to say, and it resonates. And I think this message is going to resonate with a lot of you, and I'm eager to give this one. So I'll give you a second here, but what I'm going to be opening up to is John chapter 15. So if you want to take a moment, John chapter 15. We'll also put it down here on the screen. It'll be John chapter 15, verses 1 through 8. Okay, give you a second to get there. You also see it right here. Open up your Bible, open up the Bible app, whatever you have here in front of you. Let's go ahead and dive into the Word and let the Word become and be manifested as flesh, as real life, by bringing it to light. Let's jump into this, okay? So it's the true vine. I am the true vine, Jesus says, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered. And they gather them up and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples. Powerful one there. Lot to unpack. If you're not feeling the gravity of that one yet, kind of the weight of that one yet, just hang tight here with me for a few minutes. I'm going to go over a couple things. We're going to break this whole passage down, and I think by the end here, you will see how this resonates in your life. So I want to start first and foremost by kind of explaining the dichotomy between two mindsets, two kind of aspects that we all kind of walk a very fine tightrope on. And this one might be a little bit contrary to what everybody will tell you out in the hustle culture. And I've been caught up in that for a long time and have been a part of that kind of culture. And, I realize now my spirit has always been kind of tugging on two different things, right? I want to be a part of the hustle culture and like win, success, make money, do all these things, acquire, you see all these things and all these people living, such lavish lives and this and that. You see 18-year-olds driving Lamborghinis, and it can be very, very deceiving, and it can be very, very heart-wrenching, and also kind of something that you look at that stuff and you start to do micro comparisons. And you might be happy for people you see out there on social media, but we do these micro comparisons. And then we ourselves get caught up in doing so much work, and we believe it's in our own effort. And I was self-made, and I did it on my own, and I did all this, and I worked till 10 o'clock at night or midnight or 1 in the morning. And I realized that only got me so far in my soul. Me being so connected to that hustle culture and investing so much into that is what really took my soul and made it tired. It made it very tired. And there's this dichotomy between like the effort that we put in and all the effort that we can do, and then the effort of non-action. There's action and non-action. And this is exactly what I think God is calling us here to in chapter 15. Let me explain a little bit more. We can all agree that in order for you to achieve in this life, to do things, you have to do a lot of work with your hands. You have to do a lot of work with, just in general, you got to get up, you got to be at it, right? Realtors got to be out there talking to people about buying and selling houses all the time. Surgeons got to be out there giving more surgeries to people. The butcher needs to be out there cutting more meat. There's all this stuff that, you could be doing. You can go down every single job line, right? The CEO needs to make better decisions for the company, whatever it is. There's so much work in our own effort, in our own hands that we can do. But if you notice, and I realize this, there are people going about this life who are putting in so much work and so much effort. And I feel like I was there. I was putting in so much work and so much effort. But at the end of the day, I was left so exhausted, so spiritually drained, so mentally drained, physically drained. And it's because I was trying to do everything in my own accord. See, I saw this YouTube video and it related this passage kind of like to plugging your phone in to the charger. When your phone is off the charger, you can still use your phone. You can scroll on Instagram, you can text, take photos, call, FaceTime, all that. But the battery begins to drain. It begins to drain. It begins to drain. It begins to go down. It starts to go to the red. And then all of a sudden you get the low battery notification. And all of a sudden your phone dies. But if you have that phone connected to the charger, and I'm stealing this example, I thought it was great. If you have your phone connected to the charger, you could still do all those things, but you don't lose battery. Stay with me on this. Here's where I'm going. I noticed in my life, I was going through trying to build my business and build this thing up and put all this effort in. But I was putting in the extra effort of mental strain and spiritual strain, where I would put in all this work and then at the end of the day realize why it's not growing, why it's not doing what it is I want it to do, why certain things aren't happening the way I thought that they would happen, why things aren't happening in the certain time that I thought that they would happen. Tell me not a lot of us here struggle with the timing sometimes of the blessings that we receive from God and thinking that they should be here a lot sooner. And I realize that that is where I was losing my soul, is because I was allowing what it is I thought needed to be done, the extra effort. I was trying to play both the role of man and God, the person who's sowing and the person who's reaping. But one of those jobs belongs to God. And I was trying to play both aspects. So there's the action and non-action. So I talked about all of the action that we all put in, and we strive, we earn, we achieve, we go out there, we do it. But at the end of the day, you look in the eyes of some of these people, and you looked into my eyes some time ago, and you would see tiredness. You would see a blank face, tired, drained, thanking God for the day, happy, grateful, at peace, but strained, tired, feeling drained, feeling like, when is it going to crack for me, right? And then there's the non-action I'm learning, where I'm learning like this to keep myself on the charger all day. And what I mean by that is like staying attached to the vine and knowing that at some point after I've put in all my effort, after I've done everything that I have done and I can do, there is an aspect of non-action, of giving it over to God, of then turning the circumstances over to Him and allowing Him to finish the rest. Allowing Him to be the one that lays the next stone on the path for you to step on. Allowing Him to be the one that'll guide you to the next thing, or allow the door to open, or allow it to close. See, I believe if we give ourselves over to an aspect of non-action, of allowing God, of just releasing the grip. I mean, some of us are literally freaking white knuckling that wheel. We're trying to drive and we're like just white knuckling. I mean, look at you, just like you're squeezing onto that thing. And boy, I've been there. And then just as of recent, and I get caught up in it, to be honest with you. I could sit here and say these things, but this don't mean that I might walk away today and I'm not going to abide in the Lord at some point. And I have to call myself back to Him. That's why I got it on my whiteboard in front of me. It is a reminder. Nobody is perfect here, but it's something we work on. And by learning this wisdom, I think it can impart a lot of peace on a lot of people. And especially with you here today, I want you to consider how much effort you've been putting in your life and how much extra effort you're putting in your spirit and in your heart by straining and being in pain because of the fact that things aren't working out a certain way, a certain door closed and you're frustrated, a certain door open, or it was shut right away, or the deal fell out, or the bottom fell out, or whatever it is. So as we go through building business, and as we go through business, or as we go through relationships, there is going to always be a great aspect of what it is we can do as the planters, as the sowers, right? You have to go out there and plant seeds, but you are also not the one that brings the rain. You are not the one that brings the sunshine and causes the sunshine and the rain to somehow do some crazy chemical whatever thing to where photosynthesis happens, and sure, we call it that, but what the hell even is that? And it all of a sudden just makes plants grow out of the ground and it bears fruit. You can't do that. I can't do that. I can only plant the seeds. Are you hearing me now? Do you see what I'm saying? Stay with me. We can only be the people who are planting the seeds. We can't also be the person that is bringing the sun and the rain and causing the growth. We think we are. We'll go out there and we'll plant the seeds, and then all of a sudden we'll go up the next day and check it and then get frustrated when the seeds aren't rooting yet. How funny that is. And God is saying here in chapter 15, apart from me, you can do nothing. He didn't say something. He didn't say anything. He said you can do nothing. And I'm realizing in my own life and in my business, and this might be contrary to what other people think in business, but you know what? I'm not trying to do business of the world. I want to do business with God. And I want this to be a testimony and a testament to him and all the glory given to him of what it is he was able to do through me in this business and in whatever else he carries me on to do in this life. Let's break this down. I am the true vine, Jesus says. By the way, let's talk about this. This, by the way, was given to his disciples in the upper room where, like, you know, they're sitting up there. I mean, you watch the show Chosen, like, it's a good representation. I mean, their lights are all candle. They're sitting up there. It's dark. And he's giving them, you know, this final, like, these final words of wisdom and these words. I mean, Jesus literally knows he is coming up on the hour of his death and his crucifixion. He knows soon he's going to be turned over by by Judas to the Romans. He knows he's going to be turned over to be crucified. So he's trying to give his disciples one heck of a message before he goes. It's not like he's sitting there telling them like some cheap stuff. He's got to get to it, and he knows the time is tight on this and the window is closing. So he tells them, he says, I am the true vine. What is a vine? A vine is the source of the plant. It is the root of the plant. It is where the branches grow off of. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. God is the gardener. He's the pruner. So Jesus is the one that gives the sustenance, the life, and God is the one that prunes it and is the one that keeps it maintained. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, fruit meaning the things you bear, what it is you bear in your life. Not that you're actually growing grapes and apples and bananas out of you, right? But like your fruits, peace, contentment, joy, lack of peace, anger, bitterness, resentment. Those are all fruits, good or bad, of the Spirit. And he says, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, right? And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, right? You have plants in the home? I do. I love having plants around my house. I prune them. When I see dead or dying branches, I clip them off. Why? So the plant doesn't give more energy trying to put life in there. You take it away so it can give its energy out to other aspects of the plant. Every branch of me that bears fruit, he prunes it that it may bear more fruit. When you prune trees, when you prune, plants, they grow even more because you're cutting them back to grow even more because they give more energy out to it. This is so powerful. I don't even know why he just slipped this in here, but like, let's not overlook verse 3. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. I've caught myself getting teary-eyed just rereading that verse because boy, I feel stinky sometimes. Boy, I feel dirty sometimes. Boy, I feel shameful sometimes. And come on, be real with me. I know some of you do too. And you feel shameful about the things sometimes that you say. And dang it, I feel shameful sometimes about the actions that I commit. And I'm not a perfect person, but look at what he says here. He says, you are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Hang with me on this. You are clean. I am clean because of the word that God has spoken to us. Now, that doesn't mean you can keep living in darkness and be clean. But coming to the light and being in this word, look how he says, because of the word I've already spoken to you, you are clean. Drop the shame. Drop the shame. Drop the nastiness about yourself that feels, gross about the past things that you've said or the past person that you were. You are here in this light now, and because of the word that you receive in your heart, you are made clean by Jesus. Next verse says, for abide in me and I in you, right? The vine, the branch is as much in the vine as the vine is as much in the branch, right? As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. When I clip off that, I did it yesterday to one of my plants. I saw there was like a little yellowing. I have a pathos hanging up. And if you know what those are, they're like, just super green and very viney, and they just go everywhere, right? And you got to maintain it and kind of clip it to the wall. It's very cool, right? I love them. I've had one for a few years now, and the thing just keeps growing and growing and growing. But when I clip that one off, I throw it into the trash. It withers away. Why? I'm not going to go up in my trash right now and see that it's growing another plant. No, it withers and dies. Apart from it, it can do nothing. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. Listen to what he's telling the disciples. You are going to go on in this world without me, and I am going to commission you to do great things. And if you try doing this in your own accord, with your own ego, and thinking that you have to be the one to put in all this effort and negotiate every deal and to be there to make this happen and put every single person in their place and make sure every single employee you have is doing everything correct, and you got to make sure all the aspects of the business are running perfectly, you're going to run yourself freaking rampant. And you can do nothing. All of it will fail. And you know what? It might look like success on the outside. I see a lot of people that look very successful on Instagram, but I'm not fooled by it because I know that the actual fruits of the Spirit are contentment, peace of heart, peace of mind, peace within your soul, peace with God, and feeling love from within your heart, which is our beacon point. It says, if anyone does, let's go back, hold on. Apart from me, you can do nothing. You can do nothing. He didn't say something. He didn't say, hey, you're going to go out and some of these things you'll be able to do on your own, and some of these things you won't. So just make sure you call on me when you can't. He says, no, apart from me, you can do nothing. Nothing. Let that sink. As much as that is sinking in my heart lately, of how I think I can go out and I can, in my own will. Dominic's strong. Dominic's been through a lot, so he's got resiliency. He can keep going through things, and sure, that might be true. But do not forget where it's all from. The challenge is all from him. The building up of my faith and the wisdom, all from him. And knowing that apart from him, I can do nothing. So as I continue to go about my days in business, I realize this, and I have this on my board, abide in him. So when the recruiting call doesn't work out, the people decide they're not going to come. The deal falls off. Abide in him. Apart from him, I could do nothing. Hey, there's a deal being negotiated on the table. Abide in him. Go to him. Apart from him, I could do nothing. If God's not in it, I don't want it. I don't want it. Next verse 6. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered. Just like I told you about clipping, right? If I go outside in my yard and there's a tree on our front tree lawn, I got to cut a couple branches off this weekend to prune it up so it can bear more fruit and grow in a better direction and grow more full. Those branches I cut off and leave on the side of the road for the garbage guys to pick up on Monday, those branches are going to wither. They will not have any life. And they are gathered and they're thrown into the fire and they are burned. Think about what he's saying there. We are the branches. If we are not abiding in Christ, we're thinking we could do this on our own and going about this life, and you're giving your heart over to lust and to greed, and we're giving our hearts over to drugs and alcohol and sex and giving it over to malice and to envy and to jealousy and to giving our heart to money and thinking that it's the money that builds us up and gives us the joy in this life or gives us the peace. He is literally saying that this branch will die off. This branch will die off and it'll be burned up. And then he says in 7, if you abide in me and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, which the Lord places our desires in our heart. Not meaning he gives us everything that we ask of. He's not going to give you the purple Urus, folks. Sorry to say that. You don't need to keep praying for the purple Urus. The Lord doesn't care about you driving a purple Urus. I'm just telling you. And all the people out there who get those things and then want to thank God like that's God's, like he really was trying to give you a purple Urus to thank him. I'm not being the judge of anybody's situation, but just consider that. That's whatever. But he's saying here, he puts the desires in our heart and he will give you the desires of your heart, meaning he will give you what it is your heart desires, and what you ask of, it shall be done for you in faith. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, so that you may be my disciples. Now, this is a very important part I want people to understand. If you're anything like me, you felt a lot of shame around money before. I grew up in a tough situation with my family where, there was a lot of abundance at some time, at least it appeared like it. And then there were times when there wasn't, right? If you know what I mean, it's, high times of business and very low times of business. It felt like there were very low times of business in our family for a long time. So I grew up, and all the issues that kind of stem from that, I grew up thinking that money was kind of like, that's where my heart was for a long time, and believing that if I made money, I could fix a lot of things. I could fix a lot of the drama. But as I came out of college and started making money in my first sales job in the mortgage business, I made very good money in my very early 20s. I made a lot of money as a young kid. I realized none of it did anything. It didn't give me the joy I thought it would. It didn't fix the situations I thought it would fix. In fact, it just exasperated things. It exasperated the negativity within me, exasperated the lack of peace, and it exasperated a lot of the issues that I had around me in my circle. So here, though, he is saying that you may bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples. God wants us to bear fruit. And people are out there thinking sometimes like, oh, well, you can't get to to heaven through the eye of a needle, right? The camel get to heaven through the eye of a needle, right? So like, don't make, you can't, love mammon and God, man and God, right? So like money and God. But he's saying like where your heart is, right? And I realized my heart was invested in believing that money was going to be the thing that would fix a lot of things, when really it was God. And what I was shown growing up is not that money was the issue. It's that love and the foundation of God was the issue, and that was lacking. And I realize that now, that God actually wants me to bear much fruit. He wants me to bear fruit. He wants me to be abundant. He wants me as his disciple to be an example of his love and grace shown through the business. And I don't need to feel shame around that or feel like that's a negative thing. Ooh, like if I'm going to talk about God, don't talk about money and bearing fruit and blessings. No, he wants that to happen because we are his disciples and connected to the vine. He wants his branches to bear much fruit. It wouldn't make sense if if Jesus was this vine and God's the vine dresser and God's coming around pruning it and he sees a branch that's bearing no fruit. He's going to clip it off. But he wants you to bear a lot of fruit, and then he'll prune you back, meaning he'll clip some, he's gonna refine you. You're always on the potter's wheel. He's always bringing you back to finish up a different edge, to clip off a little bit more so that way you may bear more fruit. And I think it's important that all of us allow this to sink deep into our heart, to recognize the truth behind what it is that Jesus actually calls us to, and abiding in him and realizing that apart from him, we can do nothing. And I hope you find as much value and wisdom in this passage as I have recently. And sometimes, guys, I don't open this book and just read through it. I literally just sit here. John chapter 15, it'll sit on my table, and I will read that nonstop for like a month straight, as I have. And I might read other passages and parts and journal on other things, but I keep coming back to this particular one because it's just reigning so true in my heart. And it's changing and transforming my heart for me to realize how I've been trying to go at this thing, white-knuckling life and trying to grip it all on my own. I've been trying to make it all happen in my own accord, in my own time, in my own effort. But there is this great aspect of returning to the source, returning to the vine that I'm trying to employ in my life and I'm trying to employ in my business. And again, this might be contrary to what everybody will say out there in the hustle culture. And then, you know what? That's completely fine, because I'm not trying to go about it the way the world's going about it, because I want something different. I want fulfillment. I want peace in my heart above and beyond everything else. And I want to know at the end of the day that, you know what, if that even means that the Lord is not intending for me to be the certain person or have the certain dollar in my bank account that I thought growing up was on my vision board, and I thought like, oh, this is what I need, when really I was just creating those goals out of my own ego. I'm now going back to him. I'm now going back to him and learning to return to him, the source, and to abide in him, and to realize that apart from him, I can do nothing. And as I've been trying to go about and pedal and get further and further and further, there's an aspect of release we all need to embrace, an aspect of letting go, of returning, that we can all embrace. White knuckling the wheel, release it, let the blood flow again. Peace. When you've done all that you have done, when you've made all the calls, when you've put out all the social media posts for marketing, when you've hired all the people you can, when you've gone through all the interviews, there is an aspect of returning and staying in the vine that every single one of us can learn and get better at, that will allow us to have more peace. You might go through storms and challenges. You might get told no a lot more. You might have the door slammed on your face. But I believe that John chapter 15, if we abide in him and he in us, it is the very foundation here that will allow us to have more peace as we go through these things, rather than feeling such turmoil about our journey and where it is we're at. I hope John chapter 15 resonated with you today as much as it has resonated with me. I don't know about you, and you can't see it because I got this great hoodie on, but I had chills a couple times throughout as I'm saying it, because it rang so true, and I just feel it, and I feel it, and I hope that you can feel it as well. The only fee I would ask here for the channel is to just share this. Share this with somebody who needs to hear this. Share this with somebody you're in business with, or somebody, a good friend who you see out there striving and accomplishing and doing much, but tired at the end of the day. Share this with them. Maybe they too can find a little bit of peace in John 15 in returning to the vine and knowing they could take a bit of the grip off and allow the blood to reflow back into their white knuckles. And they can allow God to go beyond and to do what it is they can't do after they've done all they have. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I hope you found truth in this message. Share it with somebody, like the video, subscribe it. It's only going to help us to continue to put this out to more and more people. And if it helps just one person, drop a comment below, say vine, drop down true vine or abide in him. Drop down abide in him. Abide. Put the word abide in the comments. How about that? Put the word abide in the comments if you felt this resonate with your soul today. Appreciate you all. Peace.
Faith and business